Hey, what's up everybody? David, the Pro Solar Flipper here. I just want to come in and offer a video today about the 9 tips that I think will help you be more successful or increase your sales. You may be doing a few of these already, or you may be doing all these already, or maybe there's just one or two ideas that will help you, that you can try out and maybe help you get some more sales. Um, if you haven't followed me and you don't really know who I am a full-time reseller, mostly pretty much strictly on eBay. I do very little on Amazon and a little bit locally. But I've been selling part-time off and on for 20 years or so on eBay, and more serious the past few years, and full-time now for a little over a year, almost coming up, no, just a little over a year. Anyway, I was very successful as a part-time seller, in my opinion, and I'm successful as a full-time seller now. I sold over six figures last year, um, and I expect that to grow a little bit each year. So anyway, these are my 9 tips that I think will put you in the best position to, you know, have better odds of making a sale or more sales on eBay. So number one is you got to have quality items, or items that people want. Um, and that's just kind of basic if you think about it. eBay, in my opinion, is driven by search. So I don't think there's a lot of people on there who are just browsing categories and kind of just like, I'll shop today. I don't really know what I want. I think when people go on eBay, they're pretty specific about what they want, and they're going to search for what they want. And so that being said, I think you want to have items that people are actually going to be searching for. So and if you're talking about maybe, so let's talk about the category of clothing. A popular brand that I like up here in the Northwest is Patagonia for outerwear. There's a lot of people out there searching for Patagonia items. Not to say that everything Patagonia sells well, not everything does, but if you get the right item, there'll be a lot of demand for it, and it will sell quickly as long as you price it right. But on the other hand of the spectrum is maybe something like Faded Glory jeans or something, right? Okay, so there's not a lot of people searching for those. I don't think so. I mean, you can get them cheap in real life at the retail stores, so there's not a lot of incentive for somebody to go on eBay and search for an item like that. And even if they happen to be doing that, they probably want it for next to nothing. I mean, and there's not going to be any room for you to make any profit there, especially for the amount of work that it'll take for you to list it. A better item with better profit. But so what I'm trying to say is you want something that is in demand, that people want, and you don't want to just be listing everything that people aren't really interested in buying. So, and one way you can check this is when you're considering buying something, maybe you're at a thrift store, or a garage sale, or an auction, or whatever, and you're looking at comps, is you want to look at more than just the sold comps, more than just the sold listings. You also want to look and see what's available. So sometimes, out of context, the solds may look good or may look bad. But if you kind of take a look at what's available actively, also, you can get a better idea of what the demand is, or how often this item is selling. So you may look and see that there is five exact items like what you've searched for that have sold in the past 90 days, and that may be good and that may be bad. So, and what I mean by that is, if you look at your active and there's only one available or none available, 5 sold in the last 90 days, it sounds great. But if you're looking and you see that it's 5 sold, and then you go to active and there's 350 or 400 available, that's bad. That means that that the market is pretty much flooded, and not very many people are interested in buying that product when there's so much available. And the likelihood of you selling yours is probably going to be pretty low, unless you're in a unique situation where you've got it much cheaper than everybody else. You're on the higher end of the quality for yours, so you could offer a better product at a better price, and then maybe you'll have a chance of still selling. But generally speaking, you want to see more solds and less active. That ideally you would want to see, maybe you'd see 20 sold in the last 90 days and 0 available, right? That would get me excited about buying that product to sell, so long as the prices made sense. You can sell for this much, and you're buying it for this much, and there's plenty of room in between for profit for fees and shipping. So number one is you want items that people want and in demand. and not just any item. And the best way you can figure that out is by looking at your solds and your active listings on eBay currently. So number two, it's got to be at the right price, right? So occasionally you'll see something where there's stuff available, but it's just not selling on eBay, and it could be that it's possible, although rare, I think, that everybody could just be priced too high, right? And they're just not being realistic about what the actual demand is. Demand and price kind of go hand in hand. Like, nobody wants to buy an iPhone 8 for $1,500. So if everybody has their iPhone 8 on there for $1,500, there could be 200 of them on there, and they're just not going to be selling. But if you put yours on there for 200, then there's a good chance that yours is going to sell when no one else's is sold. Right? So the demand can be high at a certain price, and low as the price goes up. Right? So you got to price yours right. You don't want to price yours way higher than everybody else unless there's something special about yours, right? Maybe you have the only one that's new and everybody else has used, or maybe everybody else's is kind of damaged or wore out and yours is in great condition. Anyway, your price needs to be in line with what people are willing to pay, and you need to be realistic about that. You can't be basing your prices off of what you paid for it, saying I'm not willing to sell for this price because I paid this much. Well, then you probably paid too much for it. So, and that's the decision that needs to be made when you're looking at before you buy it, before you purchase it. You need to look and say, okay, realistically, here's where I think I can sell it. It might even sell for a little bit less, and I need to make sure that there's room for profit, even if it sells for a little bit less than I think. That's kind of the mindset I go into when I'm buying things. Is I kind of see a range of where things are selling and where I think I want to make sure that if I'm at the bottom of that range, or maybe even a little bit lower than that I'm still going to be able to make a little bit of a profit. Because I'm not into buying stuff that I end up losing money on. I'm certainly also not in the business of trying to break even, doing all that work just to make $0. Doesn't make sense, right? So one, you got to have items that are in demand. Two, you have to have it at the right price. Three, I'm just going to throw this in here in the middle, kind of not even in the middle, but the more you have listed, the more likely you're going to get sales, right? So if you watch my other videos, I say this all the time. I mean, the biggest thing you can do to fix slow sales is to get more listed, right? So if you have 200 listings, you may just be starting to see regular sales, like maybe 1 or 2 a day on average. But what if you had 1,200 listings? The odds of someone buying one of your items is much greater. So if you have 1,200 listings, you might be seeing 10 sales a day or so. That's about where I'm at right now. And I would like to see more. So I'm pushing, trying to get to 1,500 listings. And then once I get 1,500, I'm still going to keep pushing. I think that 2,000 would be a great number to eventually be at as a solo reseller. So doing this all on my own with no help, no virtual assistants or helpers with taking photographs or listing or using other apps or whatever to help me sell faster or list faster or whatever. I'm just doing this on my own. I've got 1,200 listings almost. I was at 1,350 or so. Dropped down to 1,095 this past couple months. Back up to about 1,150. So reaching for 1,200 and eventually trying to get to 1,500 by the end of the summer. But like I said, 2,000 would be a great number. And I think that just having more listings is going to increase your sales. And along with that, regular listing of new items. So you can't really just get to a certain number and then stop listing. I mean, you'll still get sales, but your sales are really going to drop off because it's those new fresh items that come up that are more likely to sell. So if I list 20 things in a day, there's a good chance that 1 or 2 are going to sell right away because somebody's been looking for that item, or maybe I priced that item a little bit too low, or you just don't know. So like the more regular listings you can get up, the more likely you're going to have sales regularly. I'm not saying you have to list every day. You don't. I think if you list it every few days or so, I think you'd be fine. As long as you're kind of replacing what you've sold and then maybe trying to grow a little bit higher if that's your goal. But like I said, the more listings you have, the more you're going to sell, right? It's just kind of basic probability and math, right? So number 4, I would say in this day and age, people want fast shipping. One of the reasons I think Amazon is so successful is 2-day shipping, right? And now they're even pushing for 1-day shipping, which is insane, I think. But um, yeah, it's a want it, get it now kind of day and age, right? I mean, so if you're doing 3-day handling and sending stuff ground, or if you're going USPS and you're sending it parcel post, and people potential buyers look at your listing and say they're gonna, and it shows their estimated date that they're gonna get it as 2 weeks from now, there's a good chance they're gonna move on to find somebody else who ships it faster. I know that I do. For certain items, when I'm looking, I want it fast. Unless it's something I don't need, like if I'm buying shipping supplies and I'm buying them well ahead of time, I don't care how long it takes. But if I'm buying a new phone or something, I want it as fast as possible, right? Or even a piece of clothing, right? People are excited, they want to get that stuff right away. So for me, um, I do all my shipping pretty much is USPS first class or priority mail, which is 1 to 3 days shipping. And then I do 1-day handling. So if you have the ability or you have the desire to go to the post office more than one time a day, maybe, then you could even do same day. I don't think you would even have to do it one day if you just worked it right. But I like to do my shipping in the morning and be done with it for the day. So I don't really want to do my shipping at the end of the day, which is I think what most people do if they do same day handling. They'll have a cutoff time as 2 p.m. You order it by 2 p.m., then it will go that day. I don't really do that because I don't want to go to the post office in the afternoon. I like to go in the morning, or I like to schedule my pickups from my house when I'm with my regular mail delivery time, which is before noon. So I do 1-day handling and I do fast shipping. So um, I think that even gives me the designation. When you're looking at all the listings, mine will say fast and free delivery or whatever, because I also do free shipping. But anyway, the point is, you want to be fast. People don't want to wait for this stuff, and it's something simple that you can do on your end that really doesn't take any more of your time or any more work. It's just getting it there sooner to people. So I think that is a big thing that could lead to more sales for you. So number 5, I think people want to see sellers with good feedback. It doesn't have to be perfect feedback. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect feedback. Mine's not. I think mine's 99.9%, which is about as good as you can get, but you could be 100%. I think as long as you're 99%, maybe even 98% positive feedback, then you're going to be looking pretty good. But basically, I think people just want to look at that number and have confidence that they're not going to have any issues with you, and if there are any issues, that you're going to resolve them. And I think that's kind of just what people look at. I wouldn't stress over that number too bad, but I would try to have a good customer service in place, so that you're not getting that negative feedback, or and that people can trust to buy from you. So that's number 5. Number 6, I would say, is great pictures. It doesn't take a lot of effort for you to have great pictures. All you really need, the most important thing is lighting, in my opinion. You need bright enough lights that you can see sharp, clear, detailed pictures of whatever you're selling. So that's number 1, is lighting. Number 2, I would say, is probably a white background, because the white background is going to enable your pictures to qualify to show up in Google searches, right? If you have other stuff in the background, then it's not going to qualify to show up in Google searches. That's straight from eBay. So they talked about that a lot at eBay Open last year, and so that's just a given for me, as far as I'm concerned. You need a solid background. I don't think it necessarily has to be white, but I think white's the best, and nothing else in the picture. Don't put your eBay name in there. Don't put anything else in there. Just the one item that you're selling with a white background. That's going to increase the odds of coming up in that Google search. So you need really good lighting, the best lighting you can get. I think it's worth buying a lighting kit if you don't have access to natural light or bright enough bulbs in your room. I think most rooms probably don't have bright enough lights. So what I usually do is, whatever in the room that I'm using, the overhead lights, you want some kind of a daylight, a wider kind of light in the overhead lights. I replace those bulbs and then maybe get you a lighting kit. It is a little bit of investment. I think I paid $65 or so for my Limo Studio lighting kit that I bought off eBay. So not a lot of money, but it makes a big difference in your pictures. And then as far as camera goes, I mean, most phones these days take plenty good enough pictures. I've been using a Note 8. I just recently bought a new Note. I've been using a Note 5. I just recently bought a Note 8, and both of those do pretty good job of taking pictures. So, like I said, if you have a phone from the last 5 years or so, that should be plenty of quality of phone to take a camera to take pictures. And like I said, if your lighting's good. So that's it for that. I think for tip number 7 is just to have a complete description of whatever you're selling. Just make sure that you're mentioning the features. If it's not obvious from the pictures, that you mention the features of whatever it is you're selling. I personally, I would, if you're doing clothing, I would do measurements. You can not do measurements and it'll still sell. And on the other hand, you can do measurements, it'll still sell, and you'll still get returns, because a lot of people don't take the time to look at the measurements or compare them to what they're selling. But taking measurements doesn't take a lot of time, and I have to believe that it reduces returns. I don't know if it does or not, but I do it anyway. So what I'm saying is, mention the features of the item, describe the condition of it. You just want to make people feel confident in buying from you. So I think that complete description helps that. So number 8, a tip I would suggest is, if you're not already doing it, is maybe to offer returns. You don't have to do free returns. I've always done free returns. And honestly, I'm starting to move away from it a little bit, because my return rate is going up a little bit, to a point where I'm getting a little bit uncomfortable with it. And I'm starting to think that maybe for some of those items, it's just maybe not necessary. And maybe I still could offer returns, but with buyer paying the return shipping. So maybe it will just reduce my rate of return. It's something I'm experimenting with, so we'll see how it goes. I would like to see my return rate number come down, but what I also don't want is my rating for item not subscribed to go up, because people are going to start lying about why they were going to return it, so they don't have to pay to return it. So it's kind of a balancing act. We're going to see how it goes. I'm not just bulk editing all my listings to no longer offer free returns, but what I'm doing is, as I'm listing certain items, especially the heavier items, I'm just not doing free returns. I'm just doing 30-day returns with the buyer paying return shipping. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know where it's going to end up. I did free returns all year last year, and I ended up with about 4% returns, which is kind of high, honestly. I think the year before, when I wasn't doing free returns, I was maybe at 2 or 2.5%. So it's significantly higher. And I've always believed that maybe I was getting more sales because of it. But it has been a frustrating year, especially this last fourth quarter. My returns were over 5% during fourth quarter, and it just makes me wonder if maybe that it's kind of unnecessary, that maybe I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot by offering free returns on everything, when maybe some things shouldn't be. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to experiment that. We'll see what goes. But maybe what I'm suggesting is offer returns, so that if for no other reasons a buyer is confident in buying from you, that if something is wrong, if there is an issue, that there is the possibility that they can return that item. So like I've said in other videos before, if you have one seller who is offering no returns, another seller that's offering the same product at the same price, the same quality, and is offering returns, I mean, if you're a buyer, who are you going to buy from? You're going to buy from the person who offers returns, in case something goes wrong. And you might even think, hey, this guy is willing to offer returns. Maybe it's because he knows he has a good product. Maybe the guy who's not offering returns is not offering returns because he knows there's something wrong with the product. I mean, I don't know. There's been a lot of studies in the psychology of buyers and how they make their decisions, I guess. But anyway, that's my own belief. I think it's probably a good idea to offer returns. It's up to you, but it may lead to more sales for you. So, and then the last one is number 9 is kind of a customer service issue, and answering questions as people ask them. A lot of people buy things on impulse, and if you're available to answer that question right away, like right when they send it, if you take the time to just answer that question, that can lead to an immediate sale. If you wait till like 8 hours later and you finally answer the question, there's a good chance you've lost the sale and they've already bought from somebody else. So it just comes down to the whole idea of people not wanting to wait, right? Because they want to make that sale, they want to get it on the way to them so they can get it sooner. So customer service, be polite, be courteous, answer their question, thank them for the question. It may lead to a sale right away, right? And the same thing can be said for offers. If you accept offers, if you have your listing set for offers, or even if you don't, because even if you don't, buyers can still make offers if you didn't know that. If you respond to their offer, maybe even with a counter offer, or maybe even with a no thank you, you may still get the sale right away because they just want to know if they can make that decision to buy right then. So anyway, this video is getting a little bit longer. Those are my 9 tips for the possibility of increasing sales. I feel like I've been pretty successful, and so I have a lot of people ask me questions about certain things, and I thought maybe this video would be helpful for those of you looking for something that you could do to increase your sales. So hopefully one of these tips will help you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Maybe if you have you can offer a suggestion for what you think would be useful for increasing your sales too in the comments. That'd be great. I'm really good about responding to comments. You can check me out on Instagram. I'm Pro Solo Flipper there too as well. And that's it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys found this useful, and I'll see you next time.